It's a shot I always work, but not something that was specific to this fight. I've dropped my brother with it all the time, so yeah, I'm not surprised she went down, to be honest. I honestly could not do this without my team. I'd crumbled. Do you know what? I cried pretty much every day this camp, been going through so much, and these guys have kept me stuck together, and I couldn't have done it without them. It's been tough, so.
The moment Dakota Ditcheva stepped in front of this unpredictable KO artist, everyone felt the tension shift. Wild swings, explosive power, and pure chaos. This was one of her most dangerous encounters. Dakota Ditcheva had already earned a reputation as one of the most dangerous rising stars in women's MMA, but nothing compared to the night she was matched up against a mentally unpredictable knockout artist, an opponent known for raw aggression, wild confidence, and a chaotic energy that made her one of the most unsettling fighters Dakota had ever faced. The buildup was filled with bizarre moments, strange insults, and a level of instability that felt more like a psychological battle than a traditional fight promotion. Her opponent claimed Dakota was just a Barbie, insisted she was too pretty to fight, and promised to beat her around like a model, boasting loudly that Dakota had never faced someone built like her. While Dakota remained calm, composed, and focused, the other fighter behaved like she was fueled by pure chaos. But Dakota's answer would come inside the cage, not at the microphone, and she made that clear from the beginning. As the cameras followed her before the fight, Dakota showed her usual relaxed walk, headphones on, smile easy, and demeanor sharp. This wasn't her first time dealing with trash talk, and she had no interest in giving energy to someone who needed shock value to feel powerful. Meanwhile, her opponent continued to act erratically, pacing, yelling, and making wild statements about how Dakota wouldn't survive her pressure. Even the commentary desk hinted that they had concerns not just about the matchup, but about the mindset of the woman Dakota was preparing to fight. But before facing this strange rival in the final, Dakota first had to deal with another highly skilled fighter in the semifinals, Tyler Santos, a dangerous Brazilian grappler and former UFC title challenger who had nearly defeated Valentina Shevchenko. Santos was regarded as a complete fighter, explosive, strong, experienced, and technical. She wanted to shut Dakota down before the rising star hype grew too big. She claimed Dakota had never fought anyone as well-rounded as her and promised to expose holes in her game. Santos came into the matchup with full confidence, telling reporters she was more complete, stronger, and ready to dominate. Yet despite her experience, nothing prepared her for Dakota's controlled ferocity. From the moment the fight began, Dakota used her long frame and powerful kicks to immediately create distance and land with force. Her very first low kick cracked loudly through the arena. The second one hit even harder. Santos tried to time takedowns, but Dakota's balance and wrestling defense had improved dramatically since earlier in her career. When Santos managed to clinch, Dakota reversed her effortlessly, showcasing impressive grappling strength. And then came the signature weapon, the stabbing front kick. In one clean extension, Dakota's long legs smashed directly into Santos's face. The sound echoed through the cage. Fans reacted instantly. Commentators gasped. Santos's expression changed from confidence to shock. This was no model. This was a world-class Muay Thai striker, unleashing violence with surgical accuracy. Dakota continued punishing her with knees, kicks, and stiff right hands. Every exchange saw Santos take more damage, her attempts to grapple stuffed repeatedly. In the final seconds of the round, Dakota found her opening a crushing knee, followed by a flurry of body shots that folded Santos's posture. She pushed forward and unleashed heavy combinations until the referee had no choice but to step in. It was over. Dakota had just finished a former UFC title challenger and announced herself as one of the most dangerous women outside the UFC. She celebrated with iconic flair, applying lipstick in the center of the cage, her signature Barbie but deadly moment, proving once again that appearances mean nothing when you can destroy elite fighters. Her mother, former kickboxing world champion Lisa Howarth, proudly embraced her as the arena erupted. Dakota had earned her place in the finals and the $1 million spotlight, but the story didn't end there. Before facing the mentally unstable KO artist, Dakota's path crossed with another fierce competitor, Valentina Scatizzi, an Italian fighter who believed Dakota was overrated. Scatizzi confidently claimed she was an animal, someone stronger, tougher, and more violent. She mocked Dakota's Barbie persona, stating she was the real warrior and would prove it inside the cage. During the face-off, she tried intimidation tactics. She leaned in aggressively, stared Dakota down, and attempted to break her confidence. Dakota simply smiled and asked for the belt. already manifesting the victory she planned to earn. When the fight began, Scatizzi pressured forward like a raging bull, walking Dakota down relentlessly. But pressure without precision is simply a path toward punishment. Dakota remained calm, firing her jabs and front kicks, managing distance effortlessly. The first clean right hand Dakota landed sent Scatizzi stumbling. The second kick knocked her back again. Dakota's Muay Thai experience became evident in the clinch, where she delivered sharp knees straight to Scatizzi's body and head. The sound of those knees hitting flesh was brutal. Scatizzi attempted her only saving move, a double leg takedown. But Dakota shut it down instantly, too strong and too balanced. Every one of Scatizzi's attempts was punished with brutal counters. Dakota landed combinations with precision, blasting Scatizzi's face and ribs until her body could no longer hide the pain. The swelling on Scatizzi's eye grew rapidly, turning grotesque as vision disappeared from one side. Still, Dakota showed no mercy. She targeted the damaged eye with ruthless precision, forcing the ringside physician to step in and stop the fight. Dakota danced across the cage as officials presented her the belt and a $100,000 prize. Another contender had fallen, another challenge beaten, and Dakota grew stronger each time. Next came Cornelia Holm, a seasoned grappler known for putting opponents to sleep or snapping arms without hesitation. Holm believed Dakota wouldn't survive 3 hard rounds with her. With her extensive experience, Cornelia claimed she had the advantage in deeper rounds and promised to drag Dakota into waters she'd never been in. Their face-off was ice cold. Holm locked eyes with Dakota as if already preparing to drag her into the ground. Dakota didn't blink. When the fight began, Dakota established range instantly, using her jab and front kicks to force Holm backward. Within the first 30 seconds, Holm shot for a takedown. She had zero interest in striking with Dakota. But Dakota, now well-trained in grappling defense, prevented the takedown, controlling Holm's wrists and forcing her to abandon the attempt, and then Dakota punished her attempt with vicious knees up the middle. The impact made Holm wince. Holm survived the first round by clinching and hanging on, but the second round revealed the real difference between them. Dakota unleashed a devastating right hand that made Holm stumble into a chicken dance. She then snapped on even more pressure, forcing Holm into another desperate takedown. This time, Dakota reversed the grappling, taking Holm's back and nearly finishing a rear naked choke. It looked like Dakota might earn her first submission win, but with calm control, she let Holm stand again to finish the fight in striking range. When the third round began, Dakota Ditcheva walked forward with the confidence of someone who had already broken her opponent mentally and physically. Cornelia Holm, battered and running out of ideas, attempted another desperate takedown, but Dakota stuffed it easily. She then fired a crushing right hand straight down the middle, snapping Holm's head back violently. Holm's legs buckled, and the referee stepped in as Dakota unleashed a final finishing barrage. Holm collapsed to her knees, and the referee waved the fight off. Dakota raised her arms calmly. Another flawless victory added to her record, another experienced veteran defeated. But all of that was simply leading her toward the opponent, who would bring the strangest energy Dakota had ever experienced inside the cage, the mentally unstable KO artist whose behavior baffled commentators, confused fans, and created one of the most bizarre build-ups in women's MMA. This fighter walked into press conferences speaking in circles, rambling about being too crazy to be beaten, making strange threats, and claiming Dakota was only winning fights because she hadn't faced someone with real fire in the brain. Her interviews were filled with nonsensical statements, contradictions, and unpredictable emotional swings. Even the media didn't know whether she was trying to intimidate Dakota or simply losing control of her own nerves. At one point, she went on a rant about her imaginary friend teaching her a new fighting technique. She described herself as the Hurricane of Chaos and said Dakota would drown in her storm. Dakota's response? A small smile followed by a calm, "All right then, we'll see." The contrast between them couldn't have been more extreme. Dakota looked like a disciplined professional fighter, while her opponent seemed like a character pulled straight from a psychological thriller. Even during fight week, the chaos continued. At the ceremonial weigh-ins, her opponent screamed incoherent threats, pacing back and forth like she was preparing for a street fight rather than a sanctioned bout. Dakota stood still, collected, and completely unfazed. When they faced off, the unstable fighter tried to lunge forward aggressively. Security had to hold her back. Dakota didn't blink. Her confidence came from training, discipline, and experience, not noise. But that same chaotic energy made her opponent incredibly dangerous. Fighters like this swing with reckless power, throw wild combinations, and charge forward with no fear of being hit. They are unpredictable, and unpredictability in combat sports is always dangerous. Dakota's coaches warned her that this type of opponent can end fights with a single unexpected explosion, so she needed to stay sharp, stay technical, and not get caught up in the madness. When the cage door closed and the bell rang, everything became clear instantly. Her opponent came out sprinting, swinging her arms like windmills, screaming as she threw punches as if trying to overwhelm Dakota with pure chaos. But Dakota Ditcheva is not the kind of fighter who panics under pressure. She stepped backward calmly, maintaining her stance, reading the movements, and letting her opponent burn energy with wild, ineffective strikes. Then Dakota fired her first counter, a perfectly timed jab that stopped her opponent in her tracks. Her head snapped back violently, and the crowd reacted instantly. The shock on her face showed she wasn't expecting Dakota to hit that hard. But Dakota didn't rush. She observed. She waited. She let her opponent create openings through her uncontrolled movements. The unstable fighter tried again, rushing forward, throwing looping hooks and big overhands from her hips. Dakota angled off to the side, landing a sharp right hand. Then another. Then a front kick straight to the body that folded her opponent slightly. Dakota's footwork made her look like she was sparring, while the other fighter looked like she was fighting ghosts. But chaos can last only so long before exhaustion sets in. After one final wild flurry that hit nothing but air, Dakota saw the moment her opponent's pace slowed, and that was the moment she transformed from patient counter-striker to cold finisher. Dakota stepped forward, firing a laser-accurate 1-2 combination that cracked cleanly. The first punch stunned her opponent. The second one nearly put her out. The unstable fighter stumbled backward, eyes unfocused, and Dakota smelled blood. She launched a brutal knee to the body, followed by a crushing right hand that sent her opponent reeling into the cage. Another knee landed flush. Then a front kick snapped her opponent's head back violently. The crowd roared as Dakota unleashed a controlled storm of perfectly placed strikes. Every shot landed. Every movement was calculated. Her opponent covered up desperately, but Dakota kept firing until the referee had no choice but to step in. The chaos was over. The storm had been silenced. Dakota Ditcheva had won again, dominantly, decisively, and without a single scratch on her face. As the referee raised Dakota's hand, the contrast between them became even more clear. Dakota stood calm, composed, breathing normally. Her opponent sat on the canvas confused, still trying to understand what had just happened. All the yelling, the theatrics, the unstable energy, none of it mattered when the cage closed. Dakota had shown that discipline beats chaos, technique beats madness, and preparation beats unpredictability. After the fight, Dakota gave her opponent nothing but respect, refusing to mock the unstable behavior or the strange buildup. She simply said, "I focus on my game. The rest doesn't matter." That answer summed up who Dakota is. A fighter who handles chaos with calm precision, who turns unpredictability into opportunity, and who remains unshaken no matter how wild things get around her. This victory only strengthened Dakota's image as the next big star in women's MMA. She had beaten elite grapplers, explosive strikers, experienced veterans, and now even a mentally unstable knockout artist who tried everything to throw her off. None of it worked. Dakota Ditcheva stood tall once again, proving that no amount of insanity, pressure, or unpredictability could shake her confidence or her skill. As she left the cage that night, fans cheered loudly, not just for her performance, but for the way she carried herself through the madness. The message was clear. Dakota Ditcheva is not just talented, she is unbreakable. And with every fight, she becomes one step closer to becoming the most dominant female fighter of her generation.